Thank you for listening to the Tattness podcast on the Tattness Co. Network.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. A Mercedes kind of sentiment, luxury, and trust in me to honor the free we all should be. It sees my sundial burst into yin and yang.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Tattness podcast. If you're watching the video version, then you can see this show. We're doing things a little differently now, and you can see my guest for this show. She is a badass musician, man. If you like Nine Inch Nails, if you like Tool, you'll love her work, I'm sure, because their influences are there. And we have a hell of a conversation about that, about being straight out of Australia, where everything wants you dead, and everything in between, man. So check it out, and hang out at the end of the show if you want to hear her work, because I'm going to play at the tail end of the outro. We will give you the video for user, so check her out. And, you know, my bad with the phone thing. It happened again, so I owe y'all a beer if you see me out. My bad, I forgot to silence the damn thing yet again. That was on me. Sorry, guys. And sorry to my guest. But, you know, one day I'll remember these damn things, right? So anyways, enough of my jibber jabber. I give y'all the lovely Scarlett Cook. Alright, so, how the hell are you?
Very good, thank you. Welcome. Thank you for having me on the show.
No,
I'm welcoming you to your own show.
Fuck, it's about time somebody does. God damn, I feel so underappreciated. Thank you. Shit, that's the fucking. You know, fuck all my other guests now. You're the only one I appreciate anymore. Nobody fucking welcomes me in my own goddamn show.
It should be a two-way street for sure.
You know, it would be nice. It would be, but I'm underappreciated. Obviously, you've proven that to me. So now I am grateful. Now you're the only guest I will acknowledge. I mean, I'm just deleting the rest of the fucking shows. From now on, it's just going to be this show every day on loop. The reason that I asked you to come on is I heard your work and I was like, holy shit. I think it's safe to say that you got some influences that I personally grew up loving. Tool, Nine Inch Nails, to say the least. That's, you know, I love those bands. So the second somebody reminds me of them, I'm like, fuck yes. Yeah. Immediately has to pay attention. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, obviously for you that's an influence. So is that what got you started?
Yeah, music's always been part of my life and my family. Came from a very musical family. My mum's a violin teacher and you know, folk singer, songwriter on guitar as well, and recorder. So yeah, very musical family. My dad's artistic visually, so very creative family. And yeah, music's just sort of a natural part of my life. But probably around 13, 14, yeah, I got into the more heavier bands, you know, and then got on my path with songwriting and got really inspired then. Yeah.
I love it. I'm an art nut myself. Most people know, I think, sort of. I've always been like an art freak. I grew up in like a really abusive fucking home. So like when I was 5-ish, I started drawing and I never stopped. And then by 6, like it was my way of coping with just ignoring what's going on around me. And I just never stopped drawing. And now people are like tripping out, like, oh, is that for sale? I'm like, come on, son, you can have it. Like I give it away. I would never take someone's money. I don't need it. But it's just, for me, it's just therapy. It's like what I do. I have 2 therapy sessions, my gym session and then art. So there's one that's like aggressive and then one that just mellows me out. I'll put on some like old school cartoons or something from like back in the day, like X-Men or some stupid shit. as background noise, and I'll just draw for hours, and it feels like 45 minutes, but it'll be like 8 hours go by. So I understand that completely, man. Like art is something that just takes over a good part of your life, I think.
Yeah, well, probably why we have some of those similar bands of interest, you know, because that's sort of their function as well. Definitely cathartic sort of music, and yeah, that's what my music is for me. Very cathartic healing process as well. So yeah, there's definitely a certain type of listener, I think, and they're the ones that, you know, do want to shift something, not just sing yeah baby, you know, pop stuff. So yeah, it's interesting. It makes it way more interesting, I think, when we're actually addressing the undercurrent and the deeper stuff going on in the subconscious.
Absolutely. I loved what you sent me, because you sent me some of your work, and it was heavy. It was really like powerful stuff that was like, damn, that's a voice for people that probably don't want to speak up, that have been through some shit that they, you know, and that's all too common these days, especially in my view. So, I mean, for you to do that to me, that's nuts to me, because I was like, man, that takes guts. You know what I mean? Whether that's a personal thing or if it's just from hearing about stories, I don't know. But to me,
a bit of both.
That takes guts, and I think that's what art is.
Yeah. What as we were saying before, you know, you're drawing and just doing 8 hours on your art there, you're just tuning out and getting into a different state of mind, into a flow state, and you know, for the purpose of healing, I suppose, and therapy. You know, some people go to the medicine cabinet to get the cough syrup. I go to the piano.
Right.
And, you know, and I do it for myself. You know, I don't really think about what it's going to come across like to other people. That's not my motivation. It's all really just to express myself and get something out. And then if other people can relate to that and find benefit from that, well, then that makes me happy too. But yeah, it's more like a diary, you know, diary entry really, first and foremost. So maybe that's why I can just say whatever I want.
I love it. I mean, there's so many people that you're probably helping and you don't even know it. So I think that's so important.
Well, that's the intention now, that emotion, those feelings have passed. Because of music, I expressed those things that were, you know, at one point getting me very down and making me very stuck. That song Predator came out of a necessity. I couldn't go back to my job at the time. I had to wait until everything was sorted out. I couldn't really move. I was just stuck at home and waiting for everything to be sorted. So yeah, that's where the song came from. But it was just that episode was just the straw that broke the camel's back. The song had been writing itself for many, many years, and don't have enough hands to count on personally, let alone what we were saying about other friends, but just societally, you know, this is a very common thing that's especially crept up a lot more in the last few years, and it's much more normalized to talk about. So I actually wrote that song in 2011. You're only just hearing it now, but because I'm definitely better at songwriting than I am at promoting myself, or you know, and it does take time and money and energy, and I'm an independent artist, so things have not been as quick as I wanted them to, but perhaps in a roundabout way that was a good thing, because, you know, now the world's a little bit more ready possibly to hear that kind of content.
Isn't that the worst though? Promoting yourself is like the toughest fucking thing to do.
Yeah, that's why I'm so grateful when you invited me on the show, because I'm like, well, thank you so much, because I can't be asking other people if they can come on their show, you know.
My pleasure, honestly. I heard your work and I was a fan, and so for me it was like a no-brainer. Um, you know, I got millions upon millions of listeners like over the world basically, and I'm still striving for like that hundreds of millions of listener kind of deal. But I don't promote my shit. I never do. I hate it. I feel like the natural reaction is, you're famous, man. You can afford to do this yourself. You don't need us to promote you. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel cheap, like trying to promote my shit, and if that makes sense. Um,
Yeah, it depends on the intention behind it as well. I think, like like for me, I realized I was just sabotaging myself really, and um, music's helped me so much. The most enriched moments of my life have been when I've been really inspired by, bands we've talked about, Tool, Nine Inch Nails, Tori Amos, Opeth, PJ Harvey, a few different styles, but music's definitely enriched my life, been some of the best moments, and if I can share that and give that to someone else, well then that makes me really happy, and that's the function of art really, sort of like the baton run, just doing my leg in the baton run. I'm an ex-athlete, so yeah, I'm gonna probably use some track and field metaphors, but yeah, it's not at this point now. It's definitely not about for self-glorification when you promote yourself. For me now, it's about not getting in the way of myself anymore, and just trying to get my music out there to hopefully enrich someone else's life.
I think you're doing that too, honestly. So I love that. We obviously have touched on, yeah, we have some mutual influences there. It shows. But yeah, you're right. There is that weird thing that you have to kind of get yourself through of, worrying about. I did that with this show too. For the first season, I didn't bring on any people I was friends with from the industry, because I had it in my head that people are going to view it as, oh, you're name dropping and showing who you're friends with. So it's like kind of flexing that, fucking so-called, flexing your muscle on people of like who and whatever. And I was like, I don't want to come across like I'm name dropping by having these guests on and whatever. But eventually I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I think people
just creating good content.
Yeah, I just think people would be interested in hearing what they have to say outside of like the typical interview. Bring them on and let them talk about like who they are. And so I started to do that, and people were like, yeah, man, this is cool. On the other side of that coin, though, I didn't rely on the guests. Mick Strawn, who's a dear friend of mine, he's like a big brother to me in this industry. He's done like Blade, Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and 4, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so much stuff. And he said to me, at the end of the day, there's shows I listen to, and I listen to them because of the host, not their guests. He's like, I've had a whole fucking career of hearing what actors have to say. I don't fucking want to hear what they have to say. I listen to the show for the host, not the guest. So don't sweat the guests. And that really resonated with me because, you become a part of their routine when they listen to your show frequently. And it's not about who you have on, it's about you. And you sell yourself short because you don't know that. You know what I mean? And I learned that. And I was like, oh, shit. It's not about who you get. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're happy to hear what your guests...
The quality of conversation, I suppose.
Yeah. They're happy to hear what your guests have to say, but they're still going to listen to it if it's just you. You know what I'm saying? So it's on you to make your guests look like $1 million if you really believe in them. Otherwise, why the fuck would you have them on? You know what I'm saying? If you're not a fan of their work, why the fuck are you having them on? Yeah, I don't believe in.
Yeah.
I don't promote stuff that I myself wouldn't use. So I wouldn't have a guest on if I don't really dig what they do.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
if you're here, you know that I'm a fan of your work. So um, that's genuine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you. Yeah. If you're actually, yeah, digging what they're doing, conversation's going to flow. And as you said, this is just a casual chat, really. It's not a pry with contrived questions, which, yeah, is also what made me interested in coming on the show.
I love it. All right. So, all that said, there's one thing I need to know. There's one thing I do always wonder about. Is it true, nature-wise, everything in Australia wants to kill you?
Look, it generally runs the other way. It's not chasing you intentionally. Gosh, yeah, some people definitely freak out when they come down here. I was just on holiday a couple of weeks ago in far north Queensland. You can't go in the water there at all. You can't go swimming in the ocean, because of the stingrays and jellyfish. So yeah, that's a whole nother matter up there. Down here, I had, we've got a banana tree actually in my backyard, believe it or not, in Melbourne. I managed to grow some bananas the other day, and yeah, we just had this bunch on the bench for a few days, just ripening up, and I thought I'd tidy up a bit, and took this big brown leaf out from the middle, and this giant huntsman just crawled out and looked at me like, "What the fuck are you doing? It's my house."
Yeah.
And then I bruised the bananas by throwing them on the ground, obviously. I'm not a spider killer or anything like that, but I was not expecting that. It was looking pretty annoyed at me too, so kindly showed it the back door. And yeah, I used to actually work a long time ago in the bush, doing like conservation, bush regeneration work. So yeah, you come across a lot of things out there, scorpions even. I actually have an ant allergy, fire ants or hopper ants they're called here, jumping jacks, where they actually sting you. They are related to the spider family. And you can die. So I've had anaphylactic shock from them in the past, many years ago, where you've got to go to hospital or else your throat closes up. So ideally not a great job working in the bush when you've got anaphylaxis to some of the things out there.
Why the fuck is everything so hostile in Australia?
Those ants actually literally jump. They jump onto you and they sting you. They don't bite. They have little stingers. So yeah, beware. They're only small. They don't look scary. But they fucking hurt. And they're pretty scary when your face starts to swell the fuck up and your tongue is 3 times the size of what it was, and you start scratching profusely, and yeah, it's not much fun.
Yeah. I'm not a spider guy by any stretch of the imagination. So you're like, I'm not a spider killer, but I threw those fucking bananas. And I'm thinking I'm not an NFL player, but I would have punted those fucking bananas over a goddamn fence. Yeah, fuck that.
They've been growing since May, so it's January now. I was just trying to preserve the crop.
That's commitment.
Been very patiently watching it grow over all that time. So little bruise, it's fine. It'll be a nice banana pie or something later on. And yeah, I think I'll stick to music, indoor activities a little more than hanging out with fire ants.
Yeah, I've not heard of any musicians dying from a fire ant attack or fucking spiders. So probably a wise move.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely had my share of snakes too. I actually grew up in the Adelaide Hills, on property surrounded by state forests. It was very beautiful, but yeah, we just got used to having a brown snake in our roof for many years. It would slither around inside the roof, chasing mice and rats and shit that got up through the side of the house. So yeah, I've kind of grown up with snakes right at my door or in my roof, basically, literally.
Yeah, I've never had a problem with snakes. Like, I'm not gonna go out of my way to fucking, grab onto one, but I've never had a problem with them. I've pet them and shit, and I'm cool. Spiders, fuck that shit. I don't trust anything that has more legs than me. That's just my policy.
Yeah. Oh, look, some of them look fine, and then no, yeah, white tips come pretty close to some of them, and redbacks as well.
You guys got those fucking golden orbs, sons of bitches, too, don't you? That grab.
Oh yeah.
Shit, fuck that noise.
Oh yeah, yeah. They like to build their home in your doorway generally on the walking trail to a friend's place. He had one right in front of his door. I almost walked right into it one night. So they can, build their webs pretty quick, and you just pop out for some milk and come back, and yeah, you got to watch where you're going.
I immediately don't live there anymore. Fuck that. And I'm immediately not friends with those people no more. Fuck them. I'll sell people out, man, like that. I don't care when it comes to that shit.
Yeah, pretty few close calls, I suppose, but you just sort of get used to it. And look, Australia's beautiful, so there's some benefits of.
Oh, it is, yeah, for sure. So.
Putting out with that.
If I find myself out there again for promotional shit, I'm gonna hire you to like throw bananas at that has more than 2 legs. I'll pay you handsomely. Text me.
It might be the new way to deal with it. Just throw a peel at it, and hopefully it gets distracted.
If I see those ants, I'm like, you already got her, man. She's had enough. And they'll listen to reason, I hope. And they'll be like, all right. Knowing my luck, they'll be like, but you haven't, dickhead. And then they'll attack me. And you'll be like, this is fine. I'm going to leave this.
Not everyone's actually allergic to them. It's a certain point where you get a build-up in your system of the venom, and then it's too much. Sometimes it just goes away as well. I'm not sure where I'm at with all of that. I'm not willing to find out too soon either. I'll just take care hiking next time.
I love your optimism, where it's like, if you're not allergic, it doesn't suck, even though you're getting mauled by fucking vicious bugs. That's the part that sucks, is if you're allergic, it's going to be a bad time. But if you're not, you'll be all right.
People have actually died. I don't know what number we're up to at the moment, but quite a few people die every year of them. It's a bit underrated in the scheme of things.
Well, I mean, I'm fucking glad you didn't. Otherwise, or did you? Because I mean,
no, I was actually out. What was I doing? Running. I actually had just been running, and I got to a friend's house. I went to open the gate. One bit me on the hand, and then I just started scratching, like getting welts and shit. And I said, I don't think I feel too good, and ran home. So that was not a smart idea either. I circulated it through my body more. Yeah. Luckily, my dad drove me to the hospital pretty fucking fast that day. We were fishtailing on the road to get there in time. So yeah, that was a close call.
I had to make sure, because everyone knows now. January 21st is my birthday, and I took a little time off. I got high as fuck every day and watched Unsolved Mysteries, and then I got paranoid. So now I'm like, what if I'm talking to a fucking ghost right now? I mean, you did show up twice on this video, and I'm like, which one's the real you? What if there's an imposter?
It's like it's a clone. I have so many things to do these days. I actually have to clone myself now to get everything done.
Oh, no way. That works. I should clone myself. because so many people have told me to go fuck myself before that it's about time maybe I start listening, and I do what I can.
Fuck them.
If I had $1 for every time someone told me to go fuck myself, whew, I ain't that good at math. I don't know how much money I'd have, but a little more than I got now. I would clone myself, but I'm not my type. So, even I just want to be friends,
Yeah, but you could get them on the technical admin side right now and fix some glitches. That'd be handy. Probably more useful than Dolly the sheep, anyway.
If I cloned myself, the only good that would come of it is I'd send my clone to Australia to get mauled by every living fucking thing. So that way, when I go out there, it's like, you already got me, y'all. Leave me alone. You got yeah, let that fucker die.
It's all good. It's not as scary as, I don't know, it's probably made out to be. I definitely don't go out and wrestle crocs on the weekend or anything like that. That's not what we do here generally. Although I do know some people that have, but yeah, that's another story.
Well, I'm glad to know that I'm not cutting into your croc wrestling fucking tournament. Like I'm wasting my time with this idiot when I could be out wrestling a goddamn croc right now. So it's good to know that I haven't upset you in that regard, taking your time. I just like in Canada, I'm pretty positive most of the people in the US think that it snows here 365 fucking days a year. According to them, I live in a fucking igloo. It's a whole thing. I'm still apologizing for Nickelback, for fuck's sakes. I'm sorry about that. Don't put this snow shit on me, man. I hate cold weather. We have summer. It's just as hot as California. Come on.
Yeah, I've been at Toronto in the summer. That was very warm.
Yeah, see?
Lovely. Yeah. It's not all frosty.
Someone gets it, finally.
Yeah. But I have a cousin-in-law. He's from Thunder Bay, actually.
Oh, no
Canada.
way.
Yeah, and I have heard it gets pretty fucking cold there, minus 40.
Yeah, they're so north. It's gonna suck. Yeah. And they're right near the water too, so it's gonna be the wind chill and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no fun. Fuck that. Thunder Bay for me is like cottage area, like in the summer. Go there for a couple days, get the fuck out of there. It's got to be boring as shit to live there. There's nothing out there.
I haven't been there myself. But it sounds pretty cold in the winter, opposite of summer here, really.
No doubt. And in January, you guys are getting hit with a heat wave. Like, what the fuck?
This is just in the 30s right now. We'll get up to 47 at some point, I'm sure.
I may have to move there and just suck it up and fight every living thing that wants me dead. Not much different from here, I'm sure. I think every living thing here wants me fucking dead too, but mostly people. But but I mean,
when you're doing good things and you're out of your armchair, actually, in the limelight a little bit, people are gonna get a little jealous, I suppose. I'm sure they're just people that sit around, keyboard warriors and that sort of thing.
The worst
That's generally what is.
Yeah, the worst part is I don't even get hate mail, which I thought I would, because I say some pretty outlandish.
You're upset?
I a little bit disappointed. I mean, I say some pretty outlandish shit. And I kind of I listen back to something I say, and I'm like, it's funny to me at the time. But I'm like, somebody's gonna not see the humor in it. They're gonna be like, oh, that wasn't meant to be funny. That he's just a dick or whatever. And I'm like, someone's gonna say something. Never. What I deal with is worse than that, though. I got in touch with somebody for the first time in like a couple years. I haven't talked to them. I've never met this person. When I moved here, I got in touch with them through like a Facebook group or something because I had nothing else going on. I was just kind of getting familiar with people, whatever, trying to be social. And I get in touch with them like a month or so ago. And we talked for the first time in like 2 years, 3 years. And we talked for a couple days. And immediately, first thing they do is hit me up with some story about how they need money for some shit. And then, like, I'm not saying this so, like, you offer to help or whatever. I didn't get that message at all until days later because I'm busy as fuck. So, of course, because I didn't even read the fucking message, I find I'm deleted.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
Did you just say, sorry, ATM is out of order?
I didn't even get a chance to respond, and I was deleted because I didn't jump to it and offer to help because I didn't even get the message.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, this is how people function. Like,
yeah, they do. They're pretty cutthroat these days, hiding behind the screen, definitely like a face-to-face conversation, like an adult would these days rather than, just the way we're operating these days. There's definitely pros and cons, but I think our IQ has definitely dropped. We've got a lower IQ than people in the 70s now. Is that right?
Yeah,
we don't retain any information. We just Google it, which you'd think we'd know more now, but no, we just know how to reference things now.
Yeah, what upsets me is it's like, dude, I've never hung out with you, and you're asking me for like $2,000. I didn't get the message until you've already deleted me because I didn't get the message and offer to help you.
Yeah,
like
it sounds like a rabbit hole to get into.
Yeah, it's like way to show your true colors. Like. What am I supposed to see you as? Like, oh, well, she's kind of attractive, so I should just, dole out money. Like, dude, I'm busy. I don't get my messages all the time. Plus, I have a personal assistant that will get a lot of my messages before I ever do. And if it's personal, she'll try to, if she knows it's personal, she'll stay out of it. And if it's business related, she'll tend to that. That's her job. But if it's personal and she can tell that it's personal, she won't even open it. But sometimes it's hard to tell based on the little like preview of the message, I suppose. So it's like things happen, things get lost in the shuffle and shit, and it's like I don't even know you.
Yeah, well, we're all saturated pretty much now as well with things coming in and out, and you got to respond within about 3 minutes, or else, even if you're asleep.
It's so weird to me. I don't get it. And then just kind of dealing with the whole fucking thing is just strange. Like, you see people coming up and doing cool things, and they're gonna be famous and shit. You just want to be like, don't do it. Like, just prevent them from making the mistake you made. But there's so much good that comes with it too, though. Yeah.
Definitely.
So, yeah. I don't want to sound ungrateful or like make it sound like it sucks. But
I'm sure that generally the good outweighs the bad, just gotta focus on that, or else we just waste time and energy. And it's very exhausting. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's draining.
Unproductive, yeah.
It's a weird thing to navigate because it changes all the time.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can't even remember what happened. Maybe I can remember about 4 things that happened off the top of my head in 1 year, like a few years ago. You know, and then we get caught up on this petty stuff, but you probably won't even remember it, you know, in a year or two. Some of these things that we're just getting so worked up about, they're just really not important and worth it, you know. Yeah, and I'd definitely make a lot more music if I didn't get caught up in all that shit myself, or the dramas of everyday life. But everyday life does happen, and yeah, deal with it.
Well, I mean, if it makes you feel better, this is show 3 of season 4, and it's the 3rd show that I don't have any new beef to report with anybody.
Well, that's good.
Right? Off to a good start, right? Yeah. Season 2, I had like a year-long beef with Pink's drummer. That's a fucking weird thing.
Okay.
Fuck that guy. And like I said on the last show, man, that don't count. That's not beef. That's old news that I'm just explaining what happened. Doesn't count. Doesn't break the streak. Yeah, he's just kind of a dick. Kind of an inferiority complex kind of deal that I just don't fucking mesh with. Pink's dope. She's such a sweetheart, but you know, shout out to Alicia, but this guy, not my kind of guy. I'll say that, and that's I'm not gonna say what I want to say, but he's all right. I'm sure he's fine. Yeah, I think it was a bad time in his life, and we just kind of cross paths. He was really fucking rude to like my producer, and I did not have it. So, you know, that's what it is. It wasn't that he's disrespectful to me, but that I can take. When you're disrespectful to the people that work for me, and you treat them like they're beneath you, that's when I get salty. So
no one's more important than anyone else, or less important. You know,
exactly.
There's always room to be polite.
It's so weird, and I'm glad you said that, because like anytime I do like autograph signings and shit like that, it's so weird to me. And then like someone will freak out and be like, "Oh my god, you just like." My personal assistant was like, "Dude, this girl came up to me and was like freaking out. She's like, if you get a chance to meet him, you should." Because I just had like a 20-minute conversation with about people that we're both fans of. And he was just so cool and like chill with me and down to earth and talk to me and whatever. And she's like, I didn't have the heart to tell her, like, I'm his personal assistant and like his best friend. So I know. I just let her fucking say what she wanted to say and whatever. But she's like, just so you know, that's like kind of what vibe you give people, is like they're so shocked that you're so approachable. And I'm like, I'm just a dude with a cool job. I don't get it. Like I'm a fan like y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to talk about MMA fighting, like
we're all people.
Yeah, you know, that's exactly it. Trent is the same way. And Trent Reznor is the same way, where he actually gets along better with people that just talk to him like a fucking person. He doesn't like when people make a fuss about who he is and whatever. That weirds him out. And he's like, he won't talk. But when you just say, hey, what's up? You know, whatever, he'll spark up a conversation because he realizes like you're not treating me different. And that's dope. And it's actually funny. I told people about this show on my social media, on my personal shit. And I said that you, in my view, are probably like the fucking female Trent Reznor in my estimation. I think you're that good.
Wow, that's a very big compliment. Thank you.
No,
obviously, my music's a little bit different in some ways.
Oh, absolutely. I just feel like
definitely got the piano thing in common a bit, and that catharsis, you know. Whatever way it comes through, it's
absolutely.
Yeah, there's a certain bands that are really good at it, and they're beyond just musicians. They're, you know, doing community service in a way by being true to themselves, expressing what they need to express and healing themselves, and it liberates and helps other people express what they can't. Like the times I've been writing music, when I always do it out of necessity. I don't really clock on, clock off for music. I do it when some shit's hit the fan generally, and it's my best coping tool. And and then in those times I've always thought, oh my God, what the fuck would I do if I didn't have music? I am actually so grateful I can get this out and make something positive of this shit situation. And then that's, as I was saying before, that's why I'm not going to sabotage myself as much as I used to, and just trying to get it out there more, because I know there are people that can't do that can't express themselves. And, so sharing the music, hopefully that helps alleviate some similar issues for them.
And that's why I love that song, because I was like, yo, this is for the right reasons. And I want to clarify for listeners too, like, I'm not saying you're like some copy paste fucking Nine Inch Nails, like, knockoff or anything like that. When I compare the two, I mean, in terms of brilliance and genius and artistic genius, in my view, I think that would be the best way to describe that. I think Trent's an artistic genius. I think you are as well. So I'm not saying that it sounds exactly the same in that regard. It's just, you could tell somebody's been touched by that genius and has their own to offer. And I think that's pretty much what sums up what you do. I loved your work, and I immediately was like, I hit you up. I'm like, I'll probably get ignored or whatever. Like, nobody gives a fuck. A lot of times people think that it's not really me, so they're like, it's a scam or some bullshit. So I'm like, I'll take my chances. Normally my guests hit me up and are like, hey man, I want to come on. I'm like, all right, cool. But I sought you out. That was me, taking my chances and reaching out to you. And I was like, I might get, a manager that's like, whatever, or ignored or whatever the fuck. I don't know. But I took my shot because I was like, that's going to be cool for me.
Thank you so much for doing so. And what you've just said there, that's very flattering. Obviously, I've got an album coming out in a few months. Hopefully it'll be ready by then, and there'll be lots of more material on that, and diverse compared to what you just heard. Like Predator, that song is a very, very heavy song. It's definitely not what you probably expect when you say, it's piano driven music. It's not your typical piano style, and it's sort of hard to clarify or pigeonhole the genre as well. But maybe classical grunge, I don't know, I'm always interested to see what people think. But a bit of classical, bit of grunge, and then metal is in there too, influentially. But the other tracks that are going to be on the album, they will be some similar. They're more aggressive collection of songs, but there's a few on there that's got like a string quartet, a bit more melancholy and ballady, and an instrumental song as well, which is very sort of classical, dramatic, cinematic, maybe a little bit like Philip Glass, that sort of thing.
I love it. Like I said, I hit you up and I was like, I'm probably not even gonna get a response, but and it's really funny because I saw that your influence had to be Nine Inch Nails, at least one of them. And I'm like, I've had Stephen fucking Perkins on my shit. He's a friend of mine that's been on my show that played for Nine Inch Nails at one point. He was in Encino Man, which is one of my favorite movies because it's so stupid.
I haven't seen that for ages.
Right? And and he played for Jane's Addiction and all this shit.
Yeah.
And when I reach out to people that I really like, indie people especially, that I really think their work is solid, I don't know what it is. Sometimes they either think that I'm not who I am. They think it's someone pretending to be me or some shit, or they think it's some kind of fucking sick joke. Like I'm just gonna like offer them a spot and then just bail. And I'm like, that's not me, dude. But I try to get a blend of people that have made their fucking careers and they're good. They can retire, and then people that are still figuring it out and doing their thing and really enjoying it, and give them exposure as well. I think that's so fucking important.
Definitely.
And
Yeah.
I never put anybody in a different rank or anything like that, and I think that makes people comfortable, but they got to get on the fucking show first to know that. And if you can't get them, you know what I'm saying, if you can't get them on, then they'll never know. And I think
it's just a click of a few buttons. It's not that
hard. Right. But we live in a weird time, right? Where
definitely.
People.
Well, that's great. You want to, you're mixing it up, because there is so much good music out there that people haven't heard. And just connecting the dots, really, leaving the breadcrumbs there for them to find. It goes a long way. But crossing over with similar styles, that's a nice way. I've always liked a good way to discover other bands, new bands, seeing what the bands are like they're influenced by or are into, and that sort of thing.
Absolutely. I always found I was always that guy. Maybe that's why I do this shit this way. I was always that guy that, like, I didn't buy a record to listen to the singles. I want to hear the hidden gems. I want to hear the shit that you don't hear.
Same. I want to hear the whole story.
Right.
You don't want to just read a chapter in the middle. It might be great, but I like the whole story. I love albums. I love the artwork as well, like the tangible album. So it's good vinyls, made a comeback in that regard, because you do get a lot more from just the artwork and the package that we're missing on digital for sure. So
you're like me in that sense. I always like to have the physical, like the cover. I'm art nut that, like, I wanted to see the art. I wanted to see the inside sleeve, the whole thing. And I'm friends with so many damn like huge musicians at this point that I remember listening to their shit before other people really got into them. And I'm somebody in that regard as well, that when something becomes too mainstream or like too popular, I withdraw myself from it. If there's
me too.
If there's too much hype about it. Yeah.
Oh, even, you know what? I only just saw Harry Potter last year. I was like, everybody likes it. I don't want to watch it. Everyone likes it. And then I did watch it. I'm like, oh, fuck, actually, this is really good. But generally I'll be like, and, pictures say a lot. I wouldn't ever judge a band just on their artwork, of course. We listen to them for the music, not the visuals. But, if there's something beautiful and the cover and the artwork's, well thought through, it's, that the music's probably going to be good too. They're actually putting time, energy, effort into creating a whole another medium of art and a dimension to delve into, not just sonically.
Exactly. And I think that works for a lot of bands too. Like you look at Mudvayne, you look at Slipknot, prime examples of that. They had a goal. There was a reason behind it. It wasn't just to be visually appealing. It was more of a statement, and I get that. And that was, again, those were two bands that I fell in love with immediately because most people haven't really heard of them yet. And then it took a lot for me to not withdraw myself when everyone else started jumping on the bandwagon. I'm like, I can't let these ones go. But other shit, like if it's too popular out the gate, I'm already like, fuck that. I'm not interested. So, once I establish my fandom with something that I can relate to, like, I don't care how many people like it, I'm not budging. But I'm not going to be one of those late comers that, now 7 bajillion people like this band, so now I do. Fuck that. I won't even give them the time of day at that point. So
You've got your own ear holes. You can, work it out for yourself, your actual active listener, where you don't need someone to tell you something sounds good. No one really should. You shouldn't be liking a band just because your friend said they were good. And you want to be cool and all that sort of thing. Just go along with whatever they say. Make your own mind up.
exactly. That's me to the letter, man. Like, if I don't relate to it, I don't give a fuck what it sounds like. It's cool enough, I guess, but it's not for me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, this sucks, and but if I don't relate to it, then I'm just not really into it. It's really, it's gotta be something that I can relate to,
and some things, you don't like at first, and then they creep up on you, and vice versa. You might like it at first, and then after a while, you're like, oh my god, I'm sick of this. And I don't know. Do you like Ween? Are you a Ween fan or?
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying because of that. That's exactly how I felt about that.
Yeah, this song "Polo Asado" by Ween, off the Pod album. I first heard it, and I was like, I am a Ween fan. I've loved lots of their albums. When I first heard that song, I was like, oh my god, what is this? It's like a Casio beat shit. There's just some gibberish talking. Some dude sounds really stoned and he's ordering lots of Mexican food. What the fuck are they doing? And I'm like, what is this song? And then after like the second or third play, I'm like, you know what? Oh my God, I fucking love this song. 52's your change. Next up, I like a basket of chips. Like a Connie Osado. Did I mention a basket of chips? Oh. I like a large iced tea. No. Two large iced teas. And it's actually one of my favorite all-time songs. I don't know why. I just love it. It's nothing else out there like that. Plus, I love guacamole.
Good shit.
I like to dip the tostitos in the guacamole.
I could literally, everyone knows anything about me knows. Like, I could live off Mexican food. It's fucking ridiculous. The amount I love that shit is unhealthy, I'm sure. Mexican food is like just fucking amazing in my view. There's so much to it that it's just holy fuck. It's so good. So that's kind of you sold me on that already, but
They can get away with it because they're just good at every other style of music, and they're one of the most diverse bands out there. So they can do a late night Mexican order where the change given just really doesn't add up. That's perfectly fine with me. Yeah, it's one of my favorite songs. If you want to call it a song. But I hated it at first. So yeah, you never know. It's surprising what you do and don't like sometimes.
It's very true. I mean, even Slipknot's second record, when I first heard it, I was like, this sucks. I hate it. It's so heavy. It's so dark. It's not what I expected. I had to listen to it like 3 times and I fell in love with it. I'm like, this is a fucking brilliant piece of work. But I had my first child coming on the way at that point as well. And I immediately thought, are you getting old, dude? Because you hate this. Like, what? What do you mean it's too heavy? My child, my first son, he actually just turned 20.
Wow.
The day before my birthday. I was 18 for a day when he was born. I turned 19 the next day. I'm like, and I'm here asking myself, am I getting old because I got a kid on the way? I'm fucking turning 19 for fuck's sake. Yeah, I'm so old at that time. No, it's just one of those records that, like, when you hear the first one, it's so far from the first one that you're kind of like, what the fuck? And you have to listen to it a few times just to really get into it. But once you do, it's like, oh, I get it now. And, it's just so much darker and heavier. And so I had to listen to it a few times, then I fell in love with it. But I get that. Sometimes you got to listen to something a few times before you can truly appreciate it.
Definitely, yeah. And those sort of songs or albums, they generally last a lot longer. Your love for them, like some of the more intricate songs. Yeah, I'm a big Later Alice Tool fan. That's definitely a big instigator to what I'm doing now. Back then, I remember hearing that album for the first time and just knowing I needed to spend a lot more time listening to it because there was just so much going on. And the more I listened to it, the more I appreciated it. And it's just a timeless album for that reason. But you have to put the time and effort into a lot of stuff out there, really, or make effort to get inspired. No one's going to just put things on your lap. You have to actually go spend some time researching some of these artists. When you get to know a bit more about them, it's amazing, some of these stories behind their music, why they make music. It all adds to it. But we're generally pretty lazy. We just listen to it and then click on to the next thing. But I get a lot more value out of actually just going a little bit deeper. And when I like a band, I generally like all of their stuff. I'll get all their albums and really go on the whole journey with them.
Yeah, I think that's important. I'm the same way. I support everything, even if it's different. I never understood those quote unquote fans that the second they change up their shit, it's like you hate them. And it's like, dude, people grow. Not just artistically, but
the weather changes,
Yeah,
It's kind of like saying, hey, where are your pajamas? You were wearing pajamas before. What do you mean you changed? It's like, well, I got to go down the street now, man. Like, it's a different setting. It's a different time of day. Of course, I'm not going to wear my pajamas all the time.
There's people.
Although I'd like to.
There are people that do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, people grow, people change, and I dig it. I'm there for it because I like to see how people grow and mature.
Music's amazing the way it crosses over as well. You don't realize how connected some different genres actually are. Like metal and classical are so similar in so many ways compared
Absolutely.
to, I'd say country and classical. That's pretty far between. But, some classical listeners would not be open to that statement perhaps. But I'm sure if you put certain metal songs into, I don't know, a harpsichord or something instead of a electric guitar with distortion, it's going to sound pretty baroque.
Exactly. Whereas I'll be the guy and I'll say what is going to upset people. I never heard Beethoven tried to fuck his own cousin, so he probably wasn't into country. So now I've said it. I've upset people. You don't have to. I will. I always got to be.
People don't even know they like it. You actually have to just nudge them over there. Just go try this out, and they're like, "Oh, actually, I fucking like this." They didn't even know. You can't. Like I said before, you can't just sit in your armchair and know everything. Life's for living and experiencing, and you've got to actually, if you don't like something, have you actually listened to it first before you've come to that conclusion? Most people haven't.
See, that's exactly what I say. I mean, give it a shot first. And if you don't like it, cool. Makes sense. But
then then you actually know.
Right. But to be dismissive of something, there's always, that's the thing too, is I talked about this on my show at great length, about how there's always contrarian people that literally will just dislike something because too many people like it. And I'm probably guilty for that as well, because like I said, I withdraw myself. I'll be the first to call myself out on it. If I feel like there's too much hype around something, I feel like I'm going to be let down. So I just don't even acknowledge the shit. But I'm not somebody that's going to hate on something just because people like it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't do it for me. But there's contrarians out there that are just like, oh, this many people like this guy, so fuck him. Okay, well, that's kind of a weird basis to, but all right, that's fine.
Yeah. Or, oh, he's successful, therefore we can slander him. It's fine. So,
Yeah, that's
still a person.
yeah, apparently
Okay.
to a lot of people, not so much.
Yeah.
They forget that sometimes, I think,
Yeah.
and I'm cool with it. If people got something to say about me, that's cool. What weirded me out, what made me kind of, I don't want to say bitter because I'm not bitter about fame or whatever, but what rubbed me the wrong way about it was when I see random websites on Google where they're trying to fill in information. One of them is like my kids' names and shit. And like I have a child that passed. I don't fucking need like y'all knowing every detail of my children's lives. Like they didn't choose this career path. I fucking did. So that should begin and end with me, not bring them into it. You know what I mean? Like that kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Oh, definitely. That's, crossing the line for
Because
sure.
it gets a little weird. It's hard to wrap my head around, I think. To be that important to random people that never met me. It's a little bit strange. I don't understand it. But
They're just bored with their own lives, probably.
Yeah, it's just kind of like they have nothing to do with this. You know what I'm saying? Like I do my career because that's what I chose. Like you want to find information on me. I kind of chose that, kind of like I accepted that with what I do. My kids didn't sign up for this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're not part of this.
Yeah.
So take it out on me if you want, but leave them the fuck out of it. Like, that's why I don't really post a lot of shit about my personal life and whatever. People were always questioning me on interviews and shit, like, oh, who are you seeing these days and whatever. And I'm like, or if anybody, and I'm like, man, we're here to talk about me and my career, or like it doesn't matter what I say. I could be like nobody,
Yeah.
and y'all will fucking be like, I don't believe you. I'm like, well, then why am I answering this shit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so weird, and it's like people got to get used to that. It's going to get really invasive.
Yeah, I find it's a weird question to ask anyone. I understand people want to share that info, they will. You don't really need to.
Yeah.
Since when is it everybody's business who you see, or what's your preference and all these sort of things? What has it got to do
That was
with
what,
anybody? As long as you're not hurting anyone, like, what does it matter?
that was what was so weird to me, because there'd be names that would come up like, oh, were you involved with her and whatever. And I'm like, dude, if I was nobody to you and I came out of a bar with a random woman that I fucking met there, you guys wouldn't give a shit. But because you know who I am and you know who they are, you want to know if it's true that, there was a thing. It's so fucking weird. Like, why do I have to answer this shit? Like, it's so bizarre to me. And it's like, that's what makes it not so fun anymore. You know what I mean? Like, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I know to most listeners, it probably sounds minuscule. It sounds like I'm complaining or whatever, but it's like, dude, this is like every day. It gets a little much. Like, you get people sending you shit that they found on Google regarding you, and it's always something new. Like, I just found out there's a scam going on where people are using an OnlyFans account to say, if you email me, I'll like video you and shoot the shit with you for a fee or whatever. And like, I didn't.
Wow. They're trying to charge people money.
And then
they're you.
Someone clicked on it and found out it was a porn site, and there's like multiple links from multiple sources, and I'm like, what the fuck? You're using me to attract people to click your links. Like, aim higher, bro.
Yeah.
Do better than me, bro.
Yeah. Like I said, just very bored people with not a lot going on, I suppose, if you've got to come to that. Yeah, it's a bit sad. So like I said before, I'm so grateful I have music and I, can have a creative outlet because, I can see if you don't, it's kind of dangerous in a way. You got to have something, even if it's gardening or something,
Yeah.
You've got to have something that just makes you feel good and can transmute any of the bullshit.
Absolutely. That's so important. Everybody should have their thing that they dig,
Crochet, backgammon, bingo, anything you like.
Exactly. Harassing me, whatever the fuck gets you off. Creating weird sites about me.
Apparently that's the modern day sport now, yeah. Yeah. Trolling.
So one question comes to mind with your work, and I know it's probably a weird question. It's probably hard to dictate, but sometimes people can discern what their favorite thing is that they've done. Others is so personal that they can't really decide. Do you have a favorite at all, or is it just so personal on all fronts that it's hard to dictate?
With my music, you mean, or just in general? Yeah. I'm really proud of the film clips created. So I've got a film clip called User. That was a lot of fun. I made both film clips with one of my best friends, Vanessa Cox. She's a professional cinematographer, and it's just so nice to be working with a friend. It was just and just working in a different medium to music. It was very new to me at the time, and I just loved it. I just was on a massive creative high after we made both. Songbird is the first film clip, and then User. Yeah, so User was great fun because it was a food fight at the end, and I've always wanted to put a cream pie in someone's face, and that was great. But also, I produced that and helped build the set, and even cut and painted some of the flaps in the background and measured it all up, and really did a lot in regards to putting that together. So it's just really fun, just expressing myself, with the visual side of things as well. And I'm proud of those. I think there's a lot of metaphors and things in those clips that express and put across, the bigger meaning of what that music's about. And looking forward to doing a few more, hopefully later this year. Yeah.
A little jealous. I've always wanted to put a cream pie in someone's face, and I've never had the opportunity yet. So a little jealous. I'm not gonna lie. But
we actually ate some of that food after too. We've got it filmed as well as like a jelly, jelly truffle. Just those abhorrent 70s dishes with spam and glacé cherries and all those sort of little cocktail wieners. Yeah, it was fun. Sort of just portraying those type of people that love to take a bite out of everything and everyone and then just throw it away. Just the smorgasbord of life, just overindulging and getting a little gluttonous.
Oh, it's so common. Oh my God. Holy hell. That is so sign of the times, man. That's how people are, wasteful as shit.
Yeah.
Nobody appreciates
entitled to everything on the table.
Right.
While you've got your empty bowl down there. Entitled to everything, but just only interested in a little bite. And I've tasted that, but that's enough. I'll throw that away. Spit that out.
Yeah, I had people tell me that my success didn't surprise them because they said in their experience, it's always the people that have gone through having nothing at all that seem to become success stories. And I think that's true because you appreciate everything.
You know how to work.
Yeah, you know what it's like to have nothing, and you know how much that sucks. So you do anything that you got to do to have something. You don't aim for everything. but sometimes it just comes your way and it's like, oh shit. But you don't forget, no matter what you're given, you don't forget what it was like to have nothing, and then you help people, I think.
Definitely, yeah. You know what it's like. That's always a good place to come from. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's an empathy that comes from having nothing.
Suffering.
Yeah.
From suffering, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Am I mistaken, or do you have a Nirvana poster?
Yeah, there's a Nirvana poster back there.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, I love Nirvana, so I recognized it immediately.
Yeah, I actually was a massive Nirvana fan. That's when I first got into songwriting. It's about 13, and actually my teenage bedroom was covered with Nirvana posters from floor to ceiling, even some on the ceiling. I had a pretty impressive collection back then. I had about 70 posters or something. So I've just got the one up there now. Yeah, I've got some, Wayne in there too. Nine Inch Nails, got John Lennon over there. David Bowie, yeah. I've got a lot that isn't up on the wall at the moment. But Nirvana, yeah, definitely big instigator to actually just songwriting. And yeah, I was in a grunge band actually first, so I was really a guitar girl a long time ago. That was my main songwriting instrument. I played piano since I was about 4, but yeah, since about 13, it was just something I did, having music lessons up until about 13, and I heard Nirvana, and then I was just like, oh, I'm getting a guitar. I just hijacked my mum's guitar actually and just taught myself, and then just started songwriting that way, first on guitar as a soloist, and then in a grunge band, Autonomy, for a few years. But around that time, then sort of melded my guitar rock influences with my classical piano background. So it's different what's come through, I think. I definitely don't usually listen to a lot of piano music, to be honest. I write piano songs, but I'm not a big fan of a lot of piano music out there, to be honest. Some of it just sounds way too happy. Yeah. So I'm much more dissonant. I think the piano is such a beautiful instrument when it's played dissonant minors and that sort of thing. So I've sort of amalgamated, the power chords from maybe that I learned from Nirvana and that sort of thing. A lot of power chords in the left hand, but a lot of neoclassical sort of treble phrases in the right. And it's a nice blend.
I have to agree, because whenever it came to like piano stuff for me, whenever it interested me, it was always creepy or like sad or both. Like there was something weird about it. Like Moonlight Sonata is like creepy as fuck to me, but yet I'm so drawn.
Oh, it's pretty goth.
Yeah. Every time I hear it, I'm so drawn to it, but it kind of weirds me out. But I'm like, it's so like eerie.
It's beautiful, yeah. That's one of my favorite.
Yeah,
pieces for sure.
Easily mine for sure. It's the one that stands out to me. And I mean, look at pop culture and shit. It made it to video games like Resident Evil. It's in that. It's like, because it's eerie. It's fucking weird. You know how it's beautiful but eerie and kind of creepy, and it makes you uneasy. But it's beautiful because of that. So I think that's kind of what draws me to that kind of stuff. So that's again why I love what you do with that, because it's like you incorporate it into what you're doing, so it doesn't have to be so fucking cheerful. And like, that's not life. We have bad days. Sometimes you just want some dark shit, and I just feel like pianos are kind of not pushed to their limits sometimes by people. If everything's got to be all chipper and bullshit, it's like, dude, they can come up with some really heavy stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. I think there's a lot of untapped terrain with the piano we haven't seen yet. And I like to think I'm trying to definitely pushed the envelope on that front. But it's natural. It's not something I intended even actually doing. It's just something that came about. I just had this sort of skill set from a young age of being able to play the piano, but I really just didn't enjoy it until I just was inspired by, these heavy rock bands, and then the piano seemed to be the right tool to sort of channel that through.
Makes sense to me. I mean, so many influences, man. Even Nirvana was like heavily influenced by the Beatles and shit. And people, I just read the other day, Dave Grohl went to a Metallica concert with a general admission ticket and just hung out with the fans. Like he was just there as a fan himself. He didn't want no VIP treatment or whatever. He just bought a general admission ticket years ago. Like, that's fucking cool, man. Like, I love that. No ego. Like, that's how it should be. Like, that's how we should all do things, no matter how fucking big of a name you become. It's like, calm the fuck down, man.
It's a real experience when you've got other people's sweat all over you and someone's kicking you in the head. That's an authentic experience.
It still sounds more peaceful than nature in Australia, but
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
I love it. So obviously I'm sure you got a lot of stuff to promote, so if you want to do that, if you want to talk about stuff that you have coming up or anything really, feel free.
cool. Thank you. I've been working on this album for quite a few years now. I've had a lot of delays and a lot of setbacks. Could write a book on it all, but yeah, it's all self-funded, self-produced, with an amazing engineer, Colin Wynn from 30 Mil Studios in Brunswick West here in Melbourne. And he's just definitely gone the extra mile helping bring out the best in me. And, I'm really happy with how it's sounding. And I'm pedantic, that's for sure. So that's why it's taking a while. But, I'll be really happy when it comes out this year. I've only got one more song really just left to mix and then finish some mastering and do some photos and that sort of thing to get it out. But the next single I'll have hopefully by March, April. It's called Maria. That one's pretty ready to go. So yeah, stay tuned for that. That'll be coming out soon. It's got, string quartet, as I said, bass, drums, some songs, guitar. It's heavy in some parts, but then cinematic and, quite beautiful in others. And it's my collection of sort of earth-related songs. I've definitely got my share of heartbreak songs, and I didn't want to do that on this album. I wanted to put together my sort of collective, sort of a little bit higher than that, a bit more elevated as a theme, and go with the earth-related stuff, which I'm glad I did because, obviously COVID hit and it's become even more relevant now. Not not to say there's many good things about COVID, but one thing is my album will make a lot more sense.
That's brilliant. Yeah, COVID fucks everything up, but we can always find a good thing. I mean, with me doing movies and shit, it really fucked everything up. Because when you're doing movies where you got people come from the UK, the US, and then, the restrictions are just a bitch. So everything.
We've had it pretty hard in Melbourne. We were the most locked down city in the world. So definitely did my share of going insane, talking to myself. So I'm glad that's mostly over, and looking forward to getting back in the studio just to finish this last little bit. People can check out my work on YouTube and iTunes, Spotify, and my website, scarlettcook.com. and I'm putting together a private group as well for some giveaways and some private live streams and some extra exclusive content that's coming out pretty soon. So you can look that up. It's called Scarlett's Backstage Lounge, and I'll be giving sneak peeks to some of the new stuff there as well, which is exciting. And March, I think, is the next. We're in January now, but yeah, next gig's March. We've had a few cancelled, unfortunately, but that'll be fun. End of March will be like a birthday gig in Fitzroy, and hopefully have some cello there with me as well, accompanying. So few projects and things coming up, and just looking forward to getting it out of my system, to be honest, so I can just do the next one. I've got another 3-4 albums to record after this. Hopefully a lot more efficiently.
You said COVID drove you insane, and I think people know because you agreed to do this show. So, I mean...
Hey, I'm just happy my neighbour 2 meters away isn't on his fucking power tools today, because that's what I had to deal with over lockdown. My bedroom became like a construction site, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's a recipe for disaster and insanity.
There's always got to be that one guy, right? That fucking. Let that be a fucking lesson to the listeners. Don't be that guy.
No.
Nobody likes that guy.
No.
When you hear,
if you need me to yell at them, I've got experience. I can do it.
Oh, perfect. I'm gonna hire you. Every time someone makes me salty, I'm gonna hire you. Look at him. Well, shit. I took up so much of your time, and I feel awful because fuck, we've been going for quite some time now.
We had a great old chat, and I know it's pretty late where you are, so thank you for
thank you.
Keeping your eyelids open.
Oh, this is what I do. I'm an idiot. But I never stop. But I realized, like, holy shit, like I've kept you for so long. And it's a weird gauge because the sun's still up where you're at, and it looks all like,
it's time. Incredibly hot and bothering right now.
And you're probably
temperature-wise.
You're probably sweating your ass off in that fucking room, putting up with my bullshit. So I appreciate you.
Oh, likewise. Yeah, thank you so much, Keith, for having me on the show.
Oh, anytime.
The invite.
I would totally love to have you back when you release your record and fucking want to promote that, and we could do this again if you want.
Awesome.
That would be such a blast. So
yeah, I'd love to, and hopefully get over to Canada again. I'd love to play there again. That'd be awesome.
That would be
awesome. Some friends there, and yeah,
I would love to be there. So yeah, that'd be cool as hell if that ever happens again in the near future, with COVID being kind of restricting everything. It's such a mess. So I don't know, what the travel restrictions are at the moment, besides just a mess. But if it happens in the near future, in spite of all that crazy shit, if it gets lifted, then yeah, definitely I would love to be there. So
but I could probably get there. Whether I can get home again, that's another story.
It's usually part of the deal though, right?
Yeah,
you kind of want to get back home even though everything wants you dead. You seem to make peace with it, so
yeah, no anaphylaxis on the horizon, hopefully soon. That'd be great.
Yeah, now you got to stay in touch with me, man, because if I don't hear from you, I'm gonna be like, those fucking ants got her. And I'm gonna be paranoid all the time, like the ants got her.
Apparently ants are a symbol of patience. If they bite you, you're impatient. So I haven't been bitten for a while. I've definitely worked on my patience, character building wise, so hopefully that's all good. No more of that.
Ants are dicks. That's all I got from all that. Is there's no excuse for their behavior. They're just dicks. It's nothing you did wrong. You're trying to take the blame. That's like fucking Crocodile Hunter. Like, y'all just do that, huh? Like, That motherfucker's like, crikey, that croc almost bit me arm right off, but that's my fault because I'm in his territory. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, he just makes excuses for shit. It's like, damn, animals are dicks sometimes, man. Just
Yeah.
call it what it
It was
is.
all right. Used to ride a kangaroo to school. That was fine. Just kidding. We did have a kangaroo. We had 2 kangaroos, actually, when I was growing up. So, yeah, not all animals will kill you. Some of them are cute and cuddly.
That was a hell of a visual. I'm not going to lie. I was pretty entertained by that. Then you fucking ruined it for me and told me that it was all bullshit. But I was entertained by that for a minute. Just like everyone thinks in Canada we ride polar bears and bullshit. Like, no, we really fucking don't.
Just on the days I miss the buses. Just then. But yeah, thanks so much for the chat and having me on the show. And
My pleasure.
Yeah.
It was a blast. You're awesome. And
You too.
we got to do this again for sure. And hopefully we stay in touch because this was fucking fun.
For sure, mate.
I definitely want a kangaroo. So you could hook me up. I'm just saying. You know.
I'll work on it. Cool.
Thanks so much for your time. You've been so much fun.
You too, Keith. Awesome. All right. I'll let you go. Have an awesome night.
You too.
Thanks.
All right, y'all. So that was the badass and talented Scarlett Cook. Thank you so much, Scarlett, for coming on. You guys hang out right now. I'm about to hit y'all with the video for user. So check it out. Do me a favor and go and subscribe to her YouTube channel because she is awesome and deserves the support. You will not be disappointed. Check out this video. It's badass. And I will catch your asses later, bro.
I will not speak to your smallness, a destruction of the fear in us. I have yet to know what I should call. Do you want love? No, come on, really.
you